So I'll try to be pretty quick. I made some notes so that I can go through it without forgetting things. So my name is Daniel Goodwyn, like he said. On January 6, 2021, this is basically the same outfit I had, except for I was wearing flip-flops. That's a different story. But I've got some nice shoes today. So yeah, so I was there on January 6th. It was actually between 30 and 40 seconds inside that building. I was asked to leave and I left. I would look at the camera, but I'm just going to look at my notes. So I was arrested January 2021 by an FBI SWAT raid early in the morning, like Roger Stone style, counterterrorism task force that traumatized my family, medieval style battering ram, pointing guns and lasers, shackled everybody except for the last one out, who was my mom. And then I had they were trying to put COVID masks on me for whatever reason, but I wasn't talking. So the only thing I would say is you can talk to my lawyer, because that's the only thing you should say to the FBI or these type of people, law enforcement. And so I wasn't, going to explain to them that I would like to breathe and all that. So instead I just kind of moved my jaw to get the mask off. And they wrote it up that I chewed through 5 masks, which is not how I would characterize that situation. But anyways, they locked me up in jail. I had 3 weeks in jail, solitary confinement, which is because they called it COVID quarantine down, which is a total farce. And I had 4 misdemeanors at the time, but while I was in there, they added the 1512 felony obstruction charge that Trump had and eventually got knocked down by the Supreme Court. I was actually in 13 months of pretrial house arrest after that. And after that, I was still under restriction, the Eastern Northern District of Texas, until I eventually did a plea agreement, which dropped the 1512, and then I only had one of the misdemeanors, which is how I ended up with 2 months prison. And while I was in there, they designated me as a terrorist. I didn't have any due process for that because the judge didn't actually add a terrorism enhancement, but the judge did add a $3,000, and that's on top of the $100,000 I had to pay in legal fees. But then there was a year of supervision after that, which I just finished in August. But during that, the judge gave me computer monitoring restriction because he didn't like that I went on Tucker Carlson, and you guys can pull that online anytime. It's about 5 minutes long. He actually shows that I walked in the building I walked in a circle and left, and that was just the whole thing. So since then I've become an expert about January 6th. Done a documentary every year since then. So you can go to stophate.com/J6 and you can find those there if you click on the documentaries button. There's Writing History, Bloody Hill, 1,000 Days of Terror, J6 True Timeline, which Tucker Carlson said it should be the most famous film in the United States. And then we're working on one right now, so keep your eyes open for that. But we show in those that, Ashley Babbitt, Roseanne Boylan, Benjamin Phillips, Kevin Greason, they died. And the guy who shot Ashley Babbitt, Leroy Burr, he's been promoted. Roseanne Boylan, who was killed by Lila Morris was actually celebrated at the Super Bowl. So this is what happens when you kill people if you're a cop here, I guess. And then Benjamin Phillips, I've done a lot of research. I still don't know exactly why he died. He fell down right at the beginning, but I needed to see the footage of what happened right before that. But the reason he died really is because the cops didn't help him. I think they were scared of COVID. Same thing with Kevin Greason. But when he fell down of the quote-unquote heart attack, there were grenades going off all around him. So that may have played into it, but it's hard to say. But Ashley Babbitt did nothing wrong. Roseanne Boylan did nothing wrong. Benjamin Phillips did nothing wrong. Kevin Greason did nothing wrong. And I said all of these things at my sentence, and you know what the judge said? He said, "You're digging yourself deeper." But I still say that. They did nothing wrong and they didn't deserve to be killed that day. But they're martyrs, they're heroes, and we need pardons for all J6ers. But a pardon is not going to bring back Ashley or Roseanne or Benjamin or Kevin. And but we needed to make sure we get justice. And as Ashley's mom likes to say, justice for Ashley is justice for all. And I'd like to add on to that injustice for any J6er is injustice for us all. So with that, I have several demands. But hold on, before I get to that, I just want to say that God is not mocked, and the truth is prevailing, but only if we obey God. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and will heal their land. So that is for math people, that is a formula you can follow, and you will get that. So I want to talk a little bit about my mom, who has done a lot of things that a lot of you guys know about. She's got a chat room for J6ers that were in there, J6ers and family members, some of whom are in this room here. She worked on the Patriot Mail Project to help get people who were locked up to get mail. She's been working on J6 Patriot News to keep the news about J6 in the community so people would know what's going on and be a kind of a liaison between that, and also worked on the American Gulag Chronicles, 3 books, the new one's coming out soon, and the money from that goes to help J6ers. But the most recent thing was me and her went to Mar-a-Lago, and we actually brought 150 over that letters written by J6ers to President Donald Trump. And we actually were hoping to hand them off straight to him. We saw him speak and then he left, but thankfully we were able to hand those 2 binders full of letters off to Lara Logan, so God bless her, because she was able to connect us with the Trump correspondence team. So we're hoping that Trump is reading those. A lot of them, the main topic is obviously going to be the pardon. So yeah, I want to go into my demands. Number 1 is the blanket pardon of innocents like Flynn's for all J6ers and other hostages, because there's a lot of other hostages, and exoneration on day 1, no man left behind. So everyone's pretty familiar with that. But I'll still go into what I've my notes. Why? To make a strong statement that the government can't be allowed to ever again to come after its citizens like that. And it's, what J6ers did that day was even the worst, as they say, was justified, because the election really was stolen. And what does it say in the Declaration and in the Constitution? You guys can take a look at that. I won't have to tell you the specifics. But J6ers were trying to stop a crime, so whether you believe the election was stolen or not, it doesn't matter. J6ers did, and therefore they had no criminal intent. And also, there's the fruit of a poisonous tree. Obviously, you guys know that they were entrapped. We can get into the details on that. But there was obviously also the illegal surveillance. So anything stemming from that, you drop the charges if it was a normal situation. It's obviously all political. Nobody got a fair trial. Selective prosecution. Obviously, you look at anyone else. The J6 committee tainted the jury pool. You got biased judges and juries in D.C. Change of venue denied. Prosecutorial misconduct, which that's a long list with subcategories under that. But Brady withheld exculpatory evidence disallowed. 1A defense arguments disallowed, defense witnesses disallowed and threatened, intimidated, prejudicial evidence and statements allowed. So they would be like, oh yeah, we'll just show this stuff that has nothing to do with you, and that looks really bad about J6. And then over here, something that's totally exonerating you, we're not going to let the jury see that. So that's the kind of thing that happens in these trials. And then, so obviously people talk about people who are violent on J6. Well, first off, some of these people are just framed and falsely accused, so you got to look into that. But then also some people, maybe they were involved in violence, but who attacked first. I don't think I know, and I've looked a lot, I don't think I know of any instances where they just went and they were swinging first. It's usually the cops attacked first. For example, at 107 when they shot Josh Black in the face, bloody hole in his cheek and blood all over the ground. So that upset people. But the political climate in general showed that it would be First Amendment protected, so it's a total double standard. But also, you got mens rea, what's in your brain there? Did they feel like it was sanctioned or requested by the commander-in-chief, and or was it in defense of election integrity, democracy, and or the Constitution? So just think about that. And then people want to talk about feds. Oh, should we pardon people if they're feds? Maybe we should make an exception for that. Well, do you guys really think the feds have been charged? If so, can you please give me a list? You can. I'd love to see that. And then the secret agents, the confidential human sources, the snitches. Okay, that we can look at that. Just give me a list of who you think that actually is. So that's my number 1 demand is the pardons. Number 2, restoration or reparations or restitution, and that can come from a number of ways. It could be executive, straight from the president. It could be legislative. Literally, we have the Republicans in the House and the Senate. Now, there's a bunch of rhinos, so they probably won't, but they should. They should just legislate, that we get a bunch of justice and restoration. The judges, obviously, could order that we get restitution for what wrongfully happened with us. And then just the public square in general, because if if this were publicized properly, the American people could literally just fundraise for all of us, all be made whole. And money is the main way that we can be made whole. Obviously, some things will never come back. The people who died, they're never coming back. The events that we miss, we can't go in time travel. And but there's legal fees, there's fines, restitution, loss of work or opportunity, time spent locked up, trauma to the self or to the family, your reputation, all the fake news. We should be able to get restitution from time spent in the BOP, or even from the hospital with TSA and Quiet Skies. But even it's not just the government that has done all this to us, because we get slandered and demonized by people, get fired, and get our benefits taken away. That's often a government situation there, like with the veterans. Get debanked, get demonetized, get deplatformed. I've got a list of things that I've been banned from. So that's number 2. Number 3, my third demand, so after pardons and then restoration or reparations or restitution, whatever you want to call that, would be recognition. So I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail, but there should be a proclamation. We should be given awards that can have monetary attached to it. There should be a holiday declared, Patriot Day or Patriots Day. I don't know if we put the S on that or not. And a monument, at least one here, maybe one elsewhere. And like Gross said, could hire us, for example, to oversee justice for other political hostages. My last demand is retribution. So that has to do with investigate and prosecute those who did to us, which I've got a list, but I don't think I need to read that off because you guys know. Well, thank you so very much for all that. God bless.